Thank you, Chris. It's great to be here with you and the team at Road Dental Lab. We appreciate you having us. We've got some great information to share with the doctors, and we look forward to a great presentation. John?
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Chris. For the majority of people, life is broken down into what they consider most important to them. We call those most important areas of life the 5 key life segments. And the 5 key life segments are oneself, one's family, one's finances, one's business, and the future. So Dan and I have joined forces because of one reason. We share the common desire to serve others and make a huge positive impact in their life. So as we design Prosperity Design for dentists, we ask ourselves 3 very important questions. The first question was, does it serve? The second question, does it not only serve, but does it bring value? And thirdly, not only does it serve and bring value, will it produce positive, huge impacts in people's lives? So our goal is very straightforward. We want to help you identify those areas in your life and set goals according to the level of success that you desire in each of those areas. And then secondly, design a plan to help you achieve the level of success that you desire. And then thirdly, help you create the habits and disciplines, as we call it, to maintain and enjoy that level of success that you desire.
Thank you, John. Let's go ahead and get started with the presentation. We do have some exciting and fun stuff to share with our doctors today. I want to say that over the years, as I've spoken to a lot of my dentist friends, the topic of a full mouth reconstruction comes up, and I start to ask them a lot of questions. And what I've learned from them is that before the procedure actually begins in the mouth of the patient, that there is a lot of technology that is utilized to prepare the case and actually to finish the case before the doc starts in the mouth. So obviously you docs know more than I do that there's a lot of technology that's available to ensure a very, very high probability of success and the desired outcome that the patient wants and that you want and require is achievable in most instances. And what that does is it instills a lot of confidence in the patient. So you're utilizing your planning techniques, your planning skills, you're utilizing technology, and you're presenting the client or the patient with the best possible outcome that they could desire. And once they see those results, they have no inhibitions about the decision that they've made to undergo a full mouth reconstruction. So based on your skills, your planning, you allow the patient to achieve those desired outcomes. So after successful full mouth reconstruction, we can tell easily that this would be a desired outcome. We have a very pretty lady with a fabulous smile, and that smile obviously was intentionally designed. So when we have an intentionally designed procedure, we utilize the best available resources and we end up with the desired outcome. So the desired outcome is the key that satisfies the patient and the dentist. So I'm a quote guy. I like studying quotes from famous people that have a little bit more knowledge than I do. And Mr. Albert Einstein, whose work I'm sure you're familiar with, said something really profound during his lifetime. He said that your imagination is the preview of life's coming attractions. So imagine if you were writing the story of your life. And think about the 5 key segments that John mentioned earlier: yourself, your family, your business, your finances, and your future. Think about those areas and think about what you would do differently to maybe alter the course of your life. So you're writing the screenplay about the movie of your life, and you can make the ending however you like it. So that, in essence, is what we're doing for our clients here at Prosperity Design for Dentists. We're helping them to design the life that they could imagine, and we're actually going to instill the disciplines to make that all happen. So we want to help you to plan what's important to you. Now, I've got to tell you, I've heard many people talk about planning their family vacation. They'll spend weeks during the year to plan their family vacation, and that's fine. But it makes me wonder, how much time do they spend planning their financial success for themselves, for their family, and for their practice? So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that. Again, the 5 key life segments enable you to be as successful as you want to be. And you hear that statement a little bit more than one more time during our time together today, because you do have the ability to be as successful as you want to be in each of the 5 key life segments. So those 5 key life segments again, and we're going to make sure you remember, is yourself and your family, your business, your finances, and your future. Now, it's really important to clarify which of the 5 key life segments is most important. And there's no wiggle room here. Recall the last time that you were on an airplane and you might have had your head buried in your phone, your iPad, a book. I think people still read books. While the flight attendant was going through their progression of safety instructions, there's a time when they say a yellow mask will drop from the ceiling in the event that you lose air pressure in the cabin. I'm pretty sure, but they don't say put the mask on your child first, your elderly parent first, or your spouse first. The self comes first. When yourself is taken care of, that enables you to take care of the people around you that you care for the most. So the same is true as we move through the progression of the 5 key life segments. We've got to make sure that you are taken care of first and most importantly. So what does that mean? Think about areas of your life where you may have neglected yourself because of your family obligations and your work and practice obligations. Work and your practice is a whole nother life that you have outside of your family. But there are some key life segments, components in your life, in yourself, that maybe you have some aspirations to do. And we're just going to take a look at some possible desired outcomes. If you think back to the full mouth reconstruction and the possible desired outcomes that may be important to you. So we're just going to throw out some ideas here. You have joy in your life. That's not something you can measure, but you know if you've got joy in your life or not. What about your fun and your recreation habits and activities that you participate in? Personal growth and development. Do you want to take a course? Even though that's business, but it's still helping you within yourself. Your work-life balance, you'll see that a little bit later as well. Family relationships, not just with your spouse, but with your children, your parents, your cousins, your aunts and uncles, anybody in your family. And then what about physical, mental, and spiritual health? Are you a little bit deficient there? Is there something you could do more to put more time into those areas? So these are some things to think about regarding yourself. The family, the all-important family. You see some faces there, just insert the faces that are applicable to your family. Know who your loved ones are. Know what you can do to provide for them. So there are some possible desired outcomes that you may have for your family. You might even have a list of goals. You may not. But it's important that you do have these goals listed and written down and shared with your family. So we're just going to throw out some ideas here that may be applicable to you and your family. Are you living in the dream home that you want to live in now? Or maybe do you have it planned? What about your health and fitness for your family? Family vacations, we touched on that earlier. Are you planning those out? Work-life balance, that looks familiar. College education for the kids. Maybe they're not close, but maybe they are. And what about private school for children who are in grade school and in high school. These are some possible desired outcomes for your family. Now, the business is where you hang your hat a lot of the hours of your day and a lot of the hours during the week. So what are some possible desired outcomes that you have for your business? You may have these in work working already, but I just want to throw out some ideas here for everybody. Do you want to start a new practice? Is it necessary that you have to hire an associate because your new patient acquisition is just having you burst at the seams? Do you not only want to do $2 million in collections, but do you want to also increase profitability? Because you all know that $2 million in collections doesn't really mean much if your overhead's 85%. So we need to make sure we have a balance of both there. Is there new equipment that you need to purchase, whether it's technology for the office workers, or maybe you need new chairs? Do you want to drop insurance 100%? Do you want to be fee-for-service only? And what about the possibility of new construction? Do you want a whole new location in a better part of town where there's more traffic? Do you need more operatories? So these questions are very, very prevalent for a lot of the dentists that I talk to. This segment could be very, very broad, the Key Life segment of finances. And what I would like to do is turn it over to John to enable John to give you a little bit of a deeper dive into some of the areas of finance that we have the ability to help our clients with. John?
Thank you, Dan. You're absolutely correct. Finances is a very broad area. It also has both positive and negative impacts on your life. If you can imagine where personal finances are a problem, it creates family issues. Or on the business side, if your profit margins aren't where you are, of course, that rolls into your personal finances. If you don't have the capital to invest in future endeavors, that can become very stressful. So although it's a very broad, we narrow it down and we tie it to each of those key areas of your life most important to you, and we help you balance the finances. And so some of those areas that we look at are protection. Have you mitigated the risk necessary both on the personal and on the business side? And there's some really, really cool things regarding protection, whether it be your entity structure or whether it be the vehicle of certain types of insurance policies, where you can actually have huge monetary gains, and it can serve a dual purpose, not only to mitigate risk, but help accumulation of resource and also be there for you in the future. And that same for retirement. So we offer in these areas protection, retirement, investment, estate planning. We offer and included in this world is an assessment of where you stand in those areas. And so it's included in what we review and what we measure, and we look for the gaps and opportunities in each of those areas. And it will absolutely bring monetary value to you, which can make a huge difference, not only in the immediate, but over time. Dan?
Thank you, John. Appreciate that insight. So back to our format here of possible desired outcomes for finances. Is it important to you, or is it your aspiration to pay off all your debt? That's a big mouthful right there. What about retirement planning, as John mentioned? How about a household or a practice budget? That's going to help us to keep an eye on our spending. Additional streams of income. In addition to dentistry, are there other interests that you have that you could attach some monetary benefits to that would enable you to be more diversified. Estate planning, John mentioned that earlier, and also alternative investments. Once retirement and some other financial matters are put into place, then there may be some additional capital or some funding available for alternative investments. So we're gonna take a little bit of a different shift here. We're gonna talk about a little bonus here regarding the area of finances, and that's going to be something that maybe one or two of you might have some interest in, and that would be a tax benefit. So we're going to talk about how you could set up a Roth IRA for your children. And that might sound a little bit far-fetched, but it actually involves a couple of different moving pieces. One of the things that's important to realize regarding a Roth IRA is that there needs to be earned income for any individual to be able to fund a Roth IRA. Now, that earned income doesn't need to be the source of the funding, but there needs to be a documented process that shows that there's earned income for kids. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to have the kids be on the payroll of the practice. It may sound funny, but the dentists that we've worked with in the past, their children are on their website and they're able to be paid as corporate models. And we can talk to you more one-on-one about the specifics of that. But let's just imagine that there's going to be a contribution of $6,500 to enable a child to be able to fund an IRA. And over the course of that time frame to retirement age, we want to assume a rate of return of about 7%. It might be a little bit high, it might be a little bit low, but we've got till they reach 55 or 65 to determine that. And then the final thing to look at is the tax rate. So a Roth obviously is paid with after-tax dollars. We're going to compare that to a regular IRA that's funded with pre-tax dollars, where there's going to be tax to be paid on that. So with those variables at the top, let's just assume that a 5-year-old child, and I'm going to show you a couple different examples because I'm sure a lot of you out there have children at different ages. This will just give you an idea of the benefit here and how powerful it can be utilizing time and more compounding periods to continue to double the money as the years go on. So with a 5-year-old child as a start age, and we look at a retirement age of 55, if we were to invest or contribute to a Roth IRA every year from age 5 to 55 of that $6,500 and be able to receive an average rate of return of 7%, we would have a balance of $3,050,000. That's not a small number. Now, if we were doing that with a regular IRA and we accumulated that much money, there would be taxes due of $1.7 million. That's with a traditional IRA. But since we're doing a Roth, because the child has earned income, there's going to be a lifetime savings for your child, for each child, of $1,350,000. What that does, and I'm sure you figured it out, is that puts an additional $1.3 million in the pocket of your child when they choose to retire and start withdrawing that money. Now, one of the really neat things about this is your child's money, and that money will never, ever be taxed. So imagine kids, adults even, that have been funding a retirement plan through work, a 401k, and they have to pay tax on the money when it comes out. It kind of diminishes the benefit. With this, there's no diminishing. The children are receiving all the money that they put in because there's no tax on that money. So we're showing a couple of things here: the balance, and then what you're saving on taxes, what your children are saving on taxes. Again, this is their money. There's no inheritance tax. There's no gift tax. There's no money that's involved in estate planning because this is their money in their name, in their accounts, and it's attached to their Social Security number. Let's just assume that 5-year-old child retires at age 65. That doubles the amount of the balance in 10 years. So now we're at 6.1 million, and we're saving on taxes 3,165,000. We're actually saving more money in an additional 10 years than would have been paid 10 years prior. So again, I want to show a similar example for a 10-year-old child retiring at age 55. The balance is 2.1 million, and we're diminishing payments of taxes by 858,000. And if that child of 10 years old retires at 65, balance is 4.3, and we're saving just a little over $2 million in taxes. So think of how old your children are right now, and think of the benefit that you're providing for them just because you're listening to us today. So a 15-year-old retires at age 55, almost $1.5 million in balance, saving just a little bit over $500,000 in taxes, $534,000. Retiring at 65, that 15-year-old is going to accumulate $3 million, and they're going to have a tax savings of $1.3 million. So it sounds like it's not tangible because it's tax savings, but it actually puts that additional money in their pocket. So if someone is getting started a little bit late and you want to get your child who maybe is in college now kick-started on a Roth IRA, starting at age 20 and retiring at 55, they can still have $1 million in their account by age 55. And by age 65, they can have $2 million in their account. And as you can see over on the far right, they would have retained an extra $858,000 by having not to pay taxes on that. So this is just one example of the things that are available for your children. And we talk about family, we talk about finances, we talk about future. This is hitting on all of those topics. So I wanted to show a screen that would enable you to take a picture with your phone so you can see, so you can kind of gauge, how old your children are, what they could expect as a balance after they retire, and what they would be able to retain regarding not having to pay taxes on that amount of money. So we want to talk about the future. That's the last of the 5 key life segments. Your future, that looks like a rosy future right there, an older couple walking along the beach. Maybe you want to retire when you're 55. You don't want to retire when you're 65 or 70. That's totally up to you. We can help you to plan that. So with the planning, we have to keep in mind some possible desired outcomes. So when you retire, where do you want to live? Do you want to live in your current house right now? Where do you want to travel if travel is important to you? What type of hobbies and interests do you want to maintain or continue? Or maybe you want to start some new hobbies and interests, maybe something that you and your spouse can do together. Your standard of living, some people accept that they will have to reduce their standard of living. We would hope that you would maintain your standard of living or increase it through proper planning. What do you expect your health to be? Will you have the vitality to be able to spend your earnings, to spend your wealth when you retire? What about long-term care? Is there a plan set up that will enable you and your spouse to be cared for as you get older? The longer you live, the more of a probability that there's going to be health issues. So these are all things that we want to consider. So discipline is what enables us to help people to alter their behaviors. And I did mention earlier that I'm a quote guy. So I have a couple of quotes here that I really, really enjoy that talk about discipline. And they're by a gentleman named Jim Rohn. If you've never heard of him, Google or YouTube his name, and you will find a lifetime of information that you could benefit from. So you've probably heard these all before. I'm going to just review 3 of them real quickly. We all must suffer one of 2 things, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And you're probably thinking a little bit about that right now. Next, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. So you can have a goal, but if you don't have any disciplines put into place, the accomplishment of those goals might be way out in the future. And finally, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. So discipline has to have consistency over time. So with that, John and I have coined or put together what we call our prosperity disciplines. And these cover many areas of life. And again, we start out by looking and assessing each of the 5 key life segments. We do an assessment and we look at where our clients are now and where they'd like to be in the future. And then with that, we intentionally utilize the different prosperity disciplines to help them achieve their goals. So every plan with every client is different. There's no universal plan that's available, one size fits all. So again, you've heard me say it before, you can be as prosperous as you want to be. Remember, you are writing the screenplay for the movie of your life. So first we have family lifestyle prosperity discipline. Insert your family picture right there. And we just want to mention a few key points with each of these prosperity disciplines. So within the family lifestyle, we want to know what's your desired lifestyle. What does that include? We mentioned a few things before. The type of house you want to live in. Are you in your dream home? Do you want to have your kids in private school? The vacations you plan? We want to make sure that you are able to allocate the resources you have to provide for that lifestyle. We don't want you to fund your lifestyle on credit. We do not want that to happen. And if all things are working well within your family, that gives you tremendous peace of mind. And John mentioned before, there's carryover because if there's peace of mind at home, there's probably peace of mind at the practice as well. Secondly, we have the goal achievement prosperity discipline. Now that's important because we don't want to talk about goal setting as a discipline because anybody can set a goal. We want to talk about achieving those goals. And that's really the crux of the whole service that we're offering here. So you guys have probably heard this before. Goals need to be documented. There needs to be a timetable and they need to be measurable. And you probably also need an accountability partner, which would be us. We would help you to be accountable to make sure that your goals are being achieved. So vitality is a really, really important part of life. You know, it would be a shame for you to work your entire life and throughout your life not have the vitality and the health to be able to enjoy yourself and your family and to enjoy the benefits of your hard work regarding the wealth that you've accumulated later on in life. So this reminds me of a story about an older couple. I was coming back from a business trip and I was in the shuttle coming back to the long-term parking to pick up my car. And there was an older couple in the back of the shuttle van and they looked really, really flustered and kind of disheveled. They had a lot of luggage. They looked exhausted. They were slouched in their seats. And then across from me, there was a younger family that looked like they just came back from a wonderful vacation. The kids were happy and smiling. The parents were holding hands. And the father asked the older gentleman in the back of the van, he said, "So, did you have a good trip?" And the gentleman said, "You know, I worked all my life. I saved, I planned, I retired, and I planned the trip of a lifetime. And now my wife and I, we can barely walk." And he just sounded so frustrating. And that just made a tremendous impression on me to know and to think that, you know, I've got to take care of myself. I've got to exercise. I've got to have a sound mind. I've got to have a good spiritual life to really, really complete me as a person. So keeping those things in mind, physical, mental, and spiritual health, all are important components to having that vitality in life that will enable us to maintain high levels of energy and enthusiasm all throughout our life into retirement. So personal development, prosperity discipline, you know, it's one thing to take CE classes and help you with your practice, but on the personal side, we want to make sure that we're having continuous growth, not only in the business, but in our lives in general. And that can mean a whole lot of different things. I think people that have levels of curiosity are always eager to learn new things, and just to totally maintain their education and to increase their education. So personal development keeps us sharp, keeps us curious, and it keeps us learning. And you've probably heard that if you're If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not learning, then you're just kind of staying where you are. We always want to be advancing and accelerating. Relationship prosperity discipline. Now, this could be relationships in business and also social relationships, relationships with your family. So some of the things or some of the cues you may want to consider looking for regarding relationships is, are the people you're surrounding yourself, do they have a shared vision? Whatever vision you have, if the people around you have a similar or the same shared vision, it's going to strengthen those relationships. Do you have a giving spirit? Do the people around you have a giving spirit? These are some of the attributes that you should look forward to. And, if you're hanging out and spending time with a bunch of people who have a giving spirit, if there's giving going on, there's got to be some receiving. So we have to decide to be receptive. If somebody wants to do something for us or give us something or offer us an opportunity, we have to be receptive to that. Practice prosperity discipline. So this scene may look familiar to you. John and I are able to help folks with a lot of things in their practice, certainly not too much that involves the practice of actually doing the dentistry, but things that go on in your practice, leadership skills, being able to be the leader and to delegate, ensuring that the right processes are in place for not only for you and your team, but for other people that you work with, maybe insurance or protection folks, your CPA, investment folks. We want to make sure that there's processes in place that all lead to a prosperous practice. And also, too, we mentioned earlier, an 85% overhead is not a good thing. So we're able to review P&Ls. Unfortunately, a lot of dentists I talk to, I ask them, how often does your CPA review your P&L with you? And they said, well, I get an email about every 2 months with my P&Ls on them, and they just put them in a folder and they don't even look at them. So you've got to know where it all goes. Diversification, prosperity discipline. This is a fun one because I've heard a couple of dentists, well, more than that, let me know that, any dental practitioner that's hoping to become wealthy solely by owning and operating a dental practice might be a little bit misinformed. So a lot of the entrepreneurial-minded dentists who are really strong entrepreneurs, they get involved in other activities, other businesses that allow them to diversify. And there's a couple good reasons for that. Always want to be looking and making yourself available to new business opportunities, whether they be in dentistry or otherwise, maybe real estate, as that picture shows. These provide additional revenue streams. And what the bottom line is that it protects you from vulnerability. So COVID was not too long ago. Practices were shut down for weeks and for months. So that's a vulnerable time. So the more that you can insulate yourself from any type of vulnerable activity that doesn't impede the opportunity to earn income, that's going to be a strength for you. So diversifying is certainly a discipline that we will talk about with you. Generosity. Are you philanthropic in nature? Do you have a giving spirit, a giving heart? Do you donate? Do you volunteer? So these are some of the things that help people to reach their goals. We want to make sure that your causes and your intentions are authentic. We know that people who are giving in nature are very compassionate and they're very charitable. Whether you give to your church, to an organization like the Red Cross or the Heart Association or Wounded Warriors, anything like that, these are very important to people, and it should definitely be part of where your income goes. Destiny prosperity also could be construed as your future. We want to make sure that all the planning that we're helping our clients with is for the very strong intent of solidifying a strong future. So we want to look at the quality of life in your future, the resources that you need to enable you to live the life that you want, and to be able to achieve any of the aspirations that you have. Do you want to travel around the world? Do you want to buy a sailboat and travel all the oceans? Do you want to write a book? It could be anything and all those things as well. So lastly, legacy design prosperity discipline. What type of legacy do you want to leave? And that could mean a legacy that you want to leave to your children, to your family, to your community, to your profession. It could be a lot of different things. So the legacy that you leave will hopefully leave perpetual value. We want to make sure that your value of your life and what you've done is there in perpetuity. Do you want to make a contribution to your community? You know, there's an example of Andrew Carnegie over 100 years ago. As he was accumulating his wealth, he was very, very big on education for children. So what he did was he built and stocked libraries across the country with obviously the required books, the necessary books, so that children could be educated and so they could learn as they needed to be successful adults. And do your legacy design plans, will they be able to impact generations to come? These are some things you could consider regarding your legacy. So as we get close to wrapping up here, how do we get there? Well, we start out with a key life assessment goal. We want to set 5 goals for each of the 5 life segments. We want to assign a time frame of 1 to 3 to 5 or 10 years to each of those goals. And then after we make a long, exhaustive list, we want to choose 4 goals for each life segment that are most important to us. So now we've got 20 goals that are written down and they have time frames to them. And one of the important things about setting a goal is the why behind it, because if the why provides enough reasons for you to want to achieve that goal, then there's a higher probability that you'll achieve that goal. It's the reasons behind the goal. So the prosperity disciplines, each key life segment goal will require a design plan to utilize any number of the prosperity disciplines. I touched on this a little bit earlier. Each design plan is unique and to the individual. There's no universal design plan, not a one-size-fits-all. So again, you can be as successful as you want to be or as prosperous as you want to be. You can choose your level of prosperity. We also can alter the design plan as needed as time goes by. And it's a good idea to include your spouse and your children in the design plan, especially in the family goals that you may have or that you'll set for yourself. So doctors, I ask you, what's in it for you? Well, a lot of things. For one thing, you get your desired lifestyle. That's not a bad thing because remember, you're writing the screenplay for the movie of your life. Be able to free up the time and spend it on your own terms. Nobody's owning your calendar. You can free up your time and do what you want when you want. You can also achieve the wealth that you want. And I won't say this one isn't important because it is. Avoid burnout. You can have the vitality to enjoy your success. So how does it work? What do we do? Well, the first thing to do would be to schedule a prosperity design introduction call with myself. We would complete the prosperity profile intake, a series of questions to, again, see where you are and where you want to be. And then you would begin your prosperity design plan. Come into service and be a client with us. So how do you get started? Well, what I want to do first is let you know that we're going to open the floor for some questions. You may have some specific questions or some general questions about some of the material that John and I covered. After the questions, I would encourage you to take a picture right here. This is my personal contact information. That's my cell number and obviously my email address. So when we're done today, as soon as you can, give me a call or send me an email and we'll be able to schedule a time to talk, a time that's good for you. It could be during your admin day, maybe your day off. Let me know what works best for you. You might also want to consider having your spouse join in on a call with me because this is an exercise in working with us that's going to be good for you and your spouse.